Socially oriented, intense activities of the participants of ALLATRA International Public Movement find response and support of people from different fields. As it is said in the ALLATRA book, it is necessary for the human being to understand his true spiritual essence, then he will be able to bring real changes into the life of society and awaken people around him. In this respect, even one person is a warrior and can do many useful things. Our news item from Ochakov will tell you how a sincere initiative aimed at doing good for people was able to transform the entire city.
Good begets good. These are not just words for the citizens of Ochakov, but a motto that they follow and implement actively. People inspired by the information presented in the books by Anastasia Novykh and programs with the participation of Igor Mikhailovich Danilov launched in their city a chain of good deeds, which were actively supported by the residents of Ochakov themselves. This led to positive changes.
Yes, we all act in concert, together, amicably, jointly. Our city is small, so everything is much simpler. Everyone knows each other. For example, if I turn to the Red Cross, I will always get support, or I turn to the Organization for the Disabled, and there will be some kind of conference or something else. We all get together in a friendly way if there is anything that just needs to be resolved to help someone. Together we are striving to do one good, kind deed. Our friends, like-minded people from all over Ukraine and from all over the world are standing by us. So many people whom we don't even know also take part in the activities that we implement in Ochakov.
It is spiritually uplifting internally. This is a feeling when you do something just because.
Good begets good. The guys from the youth municipality of the district decided to join the distribution of posters with life-affirming quotes from the books by Anastasia Novykh in public places. Posters of good mood contribute to the formation of a benevolent atmosphere, switching people to positivity and humaneness. Together we placed billboards with quotes from the books by Anastasia Novykh. More than 50 sets of books by Anastasia Novykh were presented to the library of Ochakov and Mykolaiv region. People read them with pleasure. Also, many books and motivators were donated to school, orphanages, nursing homes and hospitals. People sincerely and openly accept this information and are happy to implement good deeds.
The books were distributed via the Central District Library, which is located in the city of Ochakov.
About 50 sets of books were delivered to each district library and to all rural libraries of our region.
The books are very popular in the rural areas.
These books are very popular, and not only average-age people, but also elderly people turn to this literature. And nowadays, young people pay this kind of literature particular attention also, because the source of love and joy is in ourselves.
These are books that truly bring a person peace, light, good and enlightenment, of course. This is the main purpose of any book.
New equipment was purchased for Ochakov Regional Hospital to be able to provide people with high-quality medical care. The project was carried out with the help of ALLATRA crowdfunding with Conscience platform. The initiative was supported by local residents and by many people from different countries of the world. Joint actions united people and inspired them to create new projects. The books by Anastasia Novykh were given as a present, and the walls of the hospital were decorated with inspiring motivators.
We participated, and when we saw the results, we were shocked. It was a really huge shock. We could not believe that people from all over the world would help an ordinary regional hospital.
The equipment that needed to be purchased appeared in the hospital due to the government and sponsor assistance.
Everyone began to help so actively. Big thanks to all the participants.
You might say there was an outbreak of volunteering. People started started to supply us with beds, other equipment.
One should inspire others by his own example. We should be active as well. And thanks again to ALLATRA. You are a good example in this.
Many thanks to ALLATRA.
People united on the basis of this project. And this showed even more that people are ready to unite. And it is not this equipment that is so important in and of itself. What is more important is that people showed they are ready to do something for themselves.
By this example, Ochakov showed that people are able to solve any task and do good deeds together. Aimed at the revival of the spiritual and moral values, they are united.
Atmosphere of kindness is literally soaring in the air of the city. More and more not indifferent townspeople join the chain of good deeds initiated by the volunteers of ALLATRA. People see that together it is possible to solve not only any daily life matters or issues of a street or a city, but also to gain the experience of creative cooperation, to establish mutual understanding and friendship. The initiative was actively supported by the inhabitants of Ochakov, who cleaned the city by their own forces, built a fountain, decorated yards and front porches with positive drawings. In a very short period of time, the city was transformed.
Yes, the city is changing, and in the last 3 or 4 years, of course, there are some advances.
People are united by common affairs, common interests, when they're focused on something positive. These things unite people, and people are also seeing some grains of good beginnings.
Kindness and love will save the world.
A person should just give it himself from his heart. If a person has good in his heart and he gives people this good, then it returns to him many times over. I have really seen this from my own experience, and I feel good when I do a little good deed for other person. It seems to be nothing special, but this person comes up in time and thanks me. Apparently, this is really significant for him. You understand that you really helped a person, and this means a lot in life.
After all, people always should give a helping hand to each other, to be more interested in what other people live by.
Maybe it comes from my soul, maybe from my heart, but if someone needs help, how can I not help them?
If I can do something, it must be done. There are people who work from morning to night, and they are still eager to help.
There is an interesting fable about unity. The old man gathered his sons around him, gave them a broom and said, "Try to break it." Sons tried to break the broom, but they couldn't do it. And then the old man took it and gave each one a twig from the broom and said, "Now try to break it." Naturally, the sons easily broke each twig. Then the father says to them, "The same happens in life. When you are united, there is where your power lies."
The district library of Ochakov revived the Svitlячок puppet theater, whose performers participate in various public events and town's charitable activities. Through their creativity, they multiply eternal values, kindness, love, sincerity, and mutual assistance. Every person wants to live in better society, in peace, harmony, mutual respect, and in true love of neighbor. Guided by the aspiration to create such a world, we understand that changes for the better starts with ourselves, with our inner peace and transformation.
The Svitlячок Puppet Theater of Kindness was working out of our library for about 5 years. Its goal was to convey, with the help of performances, the idea of goodness, which always should accompany every person.
We started performing at the Children's Rehabilitation Center for elderly people and at various public events.
Every year, our library organizes events that promote goodness, that very spark of kindness and heartfelt warmth.
To do a good deed and to show that not everything in this world comes down to material stuff. You can do good and feel joy and happiness in your soul thanks to this. I feel huge gratitude to not indifferent people, and I really hope that there will be more and more of such people each year.
Outside of working hours, volunteers refine the public transportation stops by decorating them with the positive, known since ancient times, symbol of ALLATRA, and with wise quotes from the books by Anastasia Novykh. All this enriches the atmosphere of the city with kindness and humanness, brings spiritual and moral information. The books of this author contain pure knowledge and answers to the innermost questions each person is interested in.
I would like these public transport stops to become not only a place where people wait for the transport, but to make one's time go by easier and feel one's way to work with pleasure. This certainly motivates people, young, mature and seniors, different categories of population. Some stops of our city, as well as some stops in the neighborhood, were decorated by our colleague Lyubov Paranyuk. Some stops were painted by, so to say, folk artists, craftsmen. They are not teachers, but they have the gift from God. They are creative people who do their best to make our city better, including even public stops.
Everyone really liked this idea.
We have a friend who repairs and places advertisement banners. I gave him a porch set to pull on it and asked him how much your work will cost. He answered, "Arina, not everything is done for money. I also want to take part in this."
I turn around and see the teacher of art school. She's well dressed, but says, "I cannot just pass you by. Give me a paintbrush and paints, please. I also want to draw." She stayed with us, started to draw. It shows that people come out of their own desire. There is no question if you like, if you want to, go ahead and draw. This is an expression of their own goodwill.
And people's mood changes when they see beauty. We're not going to stop at this. New projects have already been created, and little by little we will implement them.
Mass media has also been joining good initiatives started by the participants of ALLATRA IPM by covering the events from the positive point of view. The need of the society to get creative information, as well as its availability on the screens of our TVs and in newspapers, helps to reveal such best human qualities in everyone as kindness, honor and conscience.
We have official city website of Ochakov, and the administrator of this website is interested in our activities. She asks us from time to time, "Guys, if you did something interesting, please send this information to me." And you know what happens sometimes? We did something, switched to another activity, and forgot to send information about this one. But she finds the information on her own and publishes it on the website. A big thank you to her.
For the citizens of Ochakov city, the most important aspect of life is the spiritual development of the city. We are planning the implementation of the project for the memorial annunciation of the Archangel Gabriel and the Virgin Mary, the original patrons of the Kievan Rus. Indeed, this good news is a sign of the revival of spiritual and moral values. After all, spiritual development is the most important thing in everyone's life. As Rick Danilov said, the one who lives and acts for the sake of his or her soul and the spiritual future of all mankind is worthy of respect.
Always give joy to that city with a holy annunciation and a prayer of the Holy Mother of God and Archangel Gabriel.
The residents of our city have a great idea to install a monumental sculpture which is called the Annunciation, a monument to Archangel Gabriel and the Virgin Mary.
When we were choosing a location for the monument, the city council offered us different sites. The idea to erect a monument in the center came from the church officials. Everybody said as one, all people need to admire such beauty, it should be in the center. The sculpture Annunciation will be placed in the park on Soborная Street. A survey was completed and signatures of the Ochakov city residents were collected. The form we had was filled out very quickly. So many people approached, and all with pleasure. It even so happened that we went out and were just walking around the city, we met people we knew, we told them about it and showed them, and people reacted right then. We also want to participate in this, to add our signature. After addressing the church officials who wished to see the monument in the city center, we decided, why don't we appeal to all the confessions that are in the Ochakov city and the Ochakov district?
We are supported by a lot of guys from our organization and also people whom we accidentally met somewhere, and this is not only the residents of our city. And of course, the residents of our city are awaiting the installation of such a wonderful monument. I would like to express my gratitude to the Ochakov city residents, various religious denominations, as well as to the Ochakov City Council and the mayor of Ochakov city for their support in the implementation of this project. After all, the monument to Archangel Gabriel and Virgin Mary is really a unifying one for people of different religions.
We might say that the fate of our civilization depends on the participation of any person, his personal initiative, his actions, and his kindness.
It is simply wonderful when there are a lot of people who have joined this God's love, and how much of this love is manifested in this world, because we may say that the conductors of this love into this world are exactly people themselves.
People
themselves, who by their choice
only this way, and how can it be otherwise? This is precisely the world which is given to people, and people are creating it.
God grant love will triumph.
Love, it is what every person should possess. There should be plenty of it in everyone. That's the point. Then it is an ideal society. And it is possible. So let's love each other. It is simple.